Hello everyone, this is HGSGS here, back to some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm 1v1 action. This time it is going to be between Quantix Hyun down in the bottom right side, and down the bottom left side it is going to be Millennium's Dayshi. Now I'll be talking about them a little bit here, but this is going to be from the Team Story Acer Cup, Team Acer Team Story Cup, Acer Team Story Cup. I think that's the correct way of saying it. Either way, no matter how you want to say it, it is one of the best tournaments that I think StarCraft has ever seen. It is one of the coolest tournaments that is currently going on and is being ran very well. I haven't heard of any major drama, haven't heard of major flubs from the admins. And to be honest, running a tournament, first of all, is a lot of work and very challenging, but also to actually be able to run a team league effectively that has teams all around the world and not to have any major problems is quite impressive. So huge shout out to Acer for sponsoring such an event. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our players a little bit. Hyun, down on the bottom right side, a very powerful Korean player. I would almost call him the foreign destroyer. Now, I know that Koreans tend to be known as that anyways, just because they're so good. Although lately in WCS, Europeans have been slapping around a lot of Koreans. But anyways, Hyun has played in a lot of foreign tournaments, a lot of tournaments outside of Korea. He does a lot of traveling. I think he kind of rose to prominence or popularity, I guess I could say, during the IPL King of the Hill things where he won like a bajillion weeks in a row before finally getting knocked down off of that. But either way, a very strong player there. And Dayshi is actually a French player who has been pretty consistent in Heart of the Swarm and in Wings of Liberty. Hasn't had major tournament success, but he's just one of those players who's been kind of cruising right along, doing pretty well for his team, picking up some games for the team, for the Acer Team Story Cup. I'll get it right one of these days. And anyways, I'm very interested to see him play today. He actually looks a little bit like me, although his hair is way more fabulous. So definitely got to give him credit for that. But that does mean, of course, that it is going to be a TvZ. Hatchery going to be going down first for Hyun. This is completely standard play. We almost never see anything different than Hatchery first versus Terran. And that doesn't even mean that it's going to be a long game. That just means that it's going to be a normal game. Because you got to remember that Zerg players, if they play one base, they are basically limited to like maybe 2.5 builds. The 0.5 is going to be mass Zerglings, which you almost never see versus Terran, just because of what you're seeing right here, which is a big wall in. And they put a couple Marines there on post for defense, and they kill them all off. The other two, they are viable, but not necessarily very good, is going to be a very early timed Roach attack or a Baneling attack. And really, Terran players have learned how to hold all these things off. There's lots of different ways to hold off roach rushes and things like that, especially on a 4-player map like Whirlwind. A big map like Whirlwind, which is the most important part, is really going to be forcing these hatchery first openers out of Zerg. SV, thankfully for him, scouts the correct way. He's going to be able to spot that down in the bottom right side. Does not have to scout incorrectly. Hyun is going to be scouting. I believe this is his second Overlord. His first Overlord went up to the north and across. So this one right now will spot everything that's going on. And really, I mean, the timing of this isn't going to be that bad for Hyun. He would have liked to get there a little bit earlier. He wants confirmation that there is an expansion. He's going to want confirmation that there is a reactor here. Actually, the fact that he didn't spot that reactor may be a bigger deal than we may realize. The scouting is not happening just yet. The Ling's right here trying to make it by to get inside the main base to scout that. But, I mean, right now, Hyun's going to be playing in the dark. Now, we do have a reactored Hellion opener here. I assume it's going to be for Hellions right now. He does have a little bit of gas. Could go for Widow Mines, although getting Widow Mines versus Zerg this early is honestly just a big risk, because if they detonate those Widow Mines with just 2 Zerglings and then they attack you, all of a sudden you don't actually have anything to hold that off. So we'll have to see here. He's very low on the gas, so I would assume it's going to be the Hellions, although I have seen Widow Mines in the past, and a Starport as well, so you can add in different units there. It is actually going to be Widow Mines with the Starport. The Starport was a big tell that it could be Widow Mines or Hellions, because if you can drop the Widow Mines in the main base, all of a sudden you have the ability to snipe Queens a lot better than a Hellion drop does, so it can actually be effective there. But using them for defense, not a good idea. So I think that's what he's going to be doing, but maybe I have a complete misread right now, and he's going to make me look like a fool, which I do quite well on my own anyways. But anyways, pretty good Overlord spread right now for Hyun. And, you know, I say good, but this can backfire. If a Viking ever is produced, which considering there is that starport, it is an option. It is a viable option at that. And is he actually going to move out here with these Marines and Widow Mines? I might actually just have a total misread on this. This might actually be really fun to watch here because, you know, getting a lot of Hellions is something that Terran players are just used to doing. It's one of those things where you almost instinctively do it because you're like, oh, I'm playing Terran, I'm going against Zerg. Got to get Hellions for the early map control. And Dayshi showing us right now that's not necessarily the case. You can actually do some pretty sick timing attacks here. We do have 2 more Widow Mines and 2 more Marines, or so it might actually be a multi-prong attack right here. Is there going to be overseers? That's real quick. 1 Widow Mine gets taken out right away. This one will detonate, which means 1 Queen's got to go down. These Marines might be able to clean up the rest. Can they actually kill off 2 Queens with the high ground advantage? Looks like they do decide to retreat right there. However, the 1 Queen has been killed off. This is going to force Spore Crawlers. Notice right now how Hyun is not going for lair tech, so we actually cannot get detection here. He's instead going to have to rely on Spore Crawlers. He has more Spore Crawlers on the way. There's 1 detonation right there. Not the most damage dealt, and the medevac is still alive, which honestly I would have expected this medevac to be dead by now. Probably going to unload at the back of the base. Needs to burrow that Widow Mine right away, and he gets it down. So he will be able to detonate here, and I think the splash damage there actually killed off that medevac there. So a little bit of a misfire there on those Widow Mines, but hey man, Widow Mines, they don't really choose sides. They will choose not to attack you directly, but splash damage is anybody's game. Does kill off that medevac, which kind of sucks. Would have loved to keep those medevacs alive, or that 1 medevac, I should say. 1 Widow Mine down here gets taken out because of the Spore Caller. Remember that another Spore Caller could waddle inside the main base. He does not actually want this to detonate. These drones are heavily clumped up right here, and it is going to get a big hit. 3 drones right there. Can be a lot more if that Spore Caller does not get up here in time. There it goes right there. It's going to waddle its little legs all the way up there. Once he hits the off the creep, he moves so slowly. But you do have to remember that the Spore Callers do burrow a lot quicker than Spine Callers. Is it going to beat the Widow Mine detonating in? I think that it will. We'll just have to wait and see right now. And even if it does activate, it's just going to kill these Zerglings right here. Not that big of a deal. Don't tell them I said that. And there it is right there. Yeah! Dangerously close there. No big detonations going to be coming up. What is coming up, though, is a lot of units here for Hyun. He's got a ton of roaches. He's got a lot of lings out now, and it looks like he's going to be gearing up for some sort of attack. I mean, 19 roaches, 22 Zerglings. That is not standard. What's also not standard is a Banshee and a Viking already. I mean, the Viking's not that crazy, but the Banshee... Is that going to be for harass? Is it going to be for... Oh, don't want to... It's almost for dying there if you fly right in that Spore Caller. To be fair, though, that Spore Caller was aggressively placed there. I wouldn't quite expect one to be there. Of course, those Spore Callers are going to be for detecting those Widow Mines, as we saw. They can just run right in there. And the Banshee over here needs to keep it alive, but should be able to kill off the Queen. Gets it there, but loses the Banshee. Not really a cost-effective engagement by any means. It may force a little bit of timidosity out of Hyun. That's it. We're just making up words here today, but may force him to play a little bit more timid. However, he's just going to be aggressive with this. Widow Mine hits 1 Zergling, another Ling runs in there to hit yet another Widow Mine. And remember, you can actually see these burrowed in the dirt if you pay really close attention there. But for now, he's going to go ahead and go for it, trying to focus down the bunker. One huge Widow Mine hit right there. And I think that's going to be it for the Widow Mines. Can the roaches actually do enough damage? This is a lot of roaches. Where's the reinforcements, though? I can't help but feel like Hyun may have got supply blocked or just not ready. Oh, the depot there is going to raise. This is going to buy, I think, just enough time actually for Dayshi to be able to hold this off. The roaches right here, though, are going to be focusing down a lot of these SCVs. They are put on the hold position right now, but that's not going to stop those roaches from killing them. Remember, a hold position on SCVs really messes with the AI of the attacking units. That's exactly what he's trying to pull off there. But it looks like Hyun, our Korean player, is going to be marching right in the main base and kills off a siege tank, maybe able to kill off continued Marines and SCVs right now. Here comes the reinforcing units. More Zerglings are at the entrance. The Viking right there is just like, oh god, I'm just going to fly away now. Can he actually hold this off? I mean, there's still Widow Mines here for defense. The auto turret's raking in a couple of kills here and there. The roaches, though, a couple of them still alive. Eventually got to get cleaned up, and Dayshi somehow able to hold on there. Did I miss a drop or anything inside the main base? No, I did not. There is still more Zerglings going to be running over here. I don't know if actually sending Zerglings over here is still a good idea, because those Widow Mines will just sit back all day. It's almost like we're watching Bronze League Heroes here, only at a much higher level of play, where the Widow Mines there are constantly killing the reinforcements that are running inside the main base, which means that the Terran player is not really starved for defense at the front, because just because you lost this area does not mean you've actually given up the entire expansion, which is exactly what we saw right there. Now, all of a sudden, Hyun realizing, oh, well, that attack was going well, and then it's not now. So I have to make something happen right now. 37 workers have been killed, though. So that is going to give him a little bit of a buffer room. What does he do with that buffer room? I think he's actually making the right choice here, in that he's actually expanding again. So he's going to be 2 hatcheries 2 mining bases ahead of his opponent. Plus, he did throw down 2 macro hatches, which this tells you right here that he did not macro the best during that major attack, and maybe that's why it's going to be held off for now by Dayshi. But you can see just how important timings are. And not only in TvZ, but in every matchup, really, where all of a sudden Dayshi has this kind of sizable army. They're going to have combat shields pretty soon. They already have stim packs. He's got a Raven mixed in, a medevac, and Widow Mines, and Siege Tank, and is going to be pulling some... maybe not going to be pulling some SCVs. Apparently, he repaired that refinery there. It was super important that he had that get repaired. But for now, I don't think he meant to do that. I think these SCVs literally worked their way all the way back here and are set to auto-repair, so they're repairing everything. So there we go. Looks like they're going to go ahead and rejoin that army. But anyways, as I was mentioning, the timings are just so important because that attack was designed to hit before this kind of army rolling took place. But now he is indeed rolling out. He's got the Widow Mines, Burrows, Siege Tank right here could siege up. They'll actually be in a great position right now to cut off reinforcements to this third base. And keep in mind that Hyun just threw down 2 extra hatcheries here, so if he ends up losing this, he may lose the game. The Siege Tank, though, does go down. The Roaches, they're sacrificing themselves on the Widow Mines. Why are these units from Dayshi just not dying? I mean, he does have the 1-1, but so does Hyun. Oh my gosh, is he actually going to lose his base? What is happening? All of a sudden, the momentum has shifted against Hyun now, and this is a perfect spot just to soak up. Oh, I think he killed off some of those eggs there. That's pretty sick with those Widow Mines. I think they basically one-shot them. But I gotta say, Dayshi getting so lucky here that the hatcheries are at this location because he can just sit back here for the next couple moments and just try and clean up as many hatcheries as possible. That's going to cut the production way, way down. He's got to be going straight for the gas first. I think he's going to have to get out of here, though. I mean, there's no anti-air, so the medevacs can freely roam around. Siege Tank right there does get intercepted. Widow Mines, though, getting some decent hits. Overseer here decides to leave the 1 Widow Mine with 10 kills alive for now. We'll see if that ends up biting him later. It does look like these Marine and Marauder are very low on HP, but guess what? They still do the same amount of damage to drones, and he's backed into a corner. Oh my god, he's just being so cost-effective with these units right now. I'm sure he's got an army to follow this up in a little bit. He's making 10 Marines at a time. The Raven's like, well, gotta go. And he's going to continue the drops over here. I mean, there's only a couple Marines left in this drop, but still makes Hyun have to run back and forth and back and forth. When at this point, Hyun wants to be expanding, he wants to be getting really good map control, and he wants to be taking engagements right outside the Terran player's base, not in his own base. So there's going to be the follow-up army for Dayshi right now. He's been continually making workers in the midst of these attacks. And is he going to be able to recover right now? Hyun, that is. I cannot believe how much damage he actually took from that. Banelings are good to go. Hyun's going to be banking on trying to do damage here with one last desperation move. Medevacs are going to be returning home, but I would say mission accomplished, man. As it does look like still Marine's going to be killing some stuff off. They kill yet another queen. Might be able to kill off more Zerglings and more queens. Here we go, though. The Banelings rolling on in. Not able to get the major detonations that Hyun was hoping for. Auto turret's going to be going down because point defense drone does not actually do anything in this situation. Look at this concave from Dayshi. This is actually like a full circle concave. I don't think I've ever seen a concave quite like this, as he has the entire army surrounded here. More reinforcements. Got to be able to take out some of the depots, but really depots aren't the important thing. You want to be able to kill out the Marine Marauder, which he is currently not doing. There's going to be a little stutter step dancing right there to take out all the units. He knew that that Zerg army was going to have to retreat, and he prevented that from happening as much as he possibly could right now. Hyun not mining off of this third base. He does have his new third base, which he was hoping to be his fourth base, which is fully saturated. But how many workers have been killed now? This is so far a very brutal game. 57 to 36 workers killed. That is a lot for this stage of the game. However, Hyun does have a lot of Banelings right now. It's not really enough to win in a straight-on engagement, but it is enough to win on a couple lucky hits engagement. If he runs them in, like, for example, and kills off these SCVs, just imagine the chaos, as he would be able to kill those off, and he might be able to do that right now. The SCV is completely undefended here. They do manage to mine and get the hell out of there, but the Banelings could still get some good hits. This is exactly what Hyun is hoping for. Can he kill off any of the SCVs? Nice detonations. I don't think it's going to be able to kill off all the SCVs, because they were too far spread out. The timing of this hitting just a couple of seconds too late. The Zerglings trying to make it happen, but Hellbats have arrived. The new Firebat of StarCraft 2 is pretty darn good versus Zerglings. Got to be scaring that away. What a brutal game. Hyun is still ahead in supply. He's continuing to be aggressive. Overall units lost, though, is going to be favoring Dayshi, which is why he's able to stay ahead, even though he was a base down or two just until right now, which is actually where it's going to start favoring the Terran player. Zerg always wants to be ahead in bases if possible. I would say that if Hyun was not being more aggressive, he needed to start long-distance mining at this base just to supplement his income a little bit, but he did decide to go ahead and continue being aggressive. But I gotta be honest, the playstyle of Zerg lately has not really been about aggression. It's been more about holding the center of the map, preventing the Terran from moving out, and just mass macroing out the back of that. We'll get a couple SCV kills here. Very nice. Trying to put them on hold position to kill off one last SCV. Not going to happen. But the fact that Hyun is trying to be so aggressive, he's trying to end this game constantly. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on Dayshi, but if he's able to hold on, then our Frenchman may be able to do just that. Hold on and claim a victory. These roaches trying to hide in the grass. They are not fooling anybody. As right now, Dayshi, though, he has a great unit position with his main army. His, you can see right here, the reinforcements are streaming down here, so if a counterattack tries to happen, they will get slowed down by these reinforcements. Surprised to see a supply drop at the entrance. I feel like supply dropping one of these buildings back here would have been better, but when you're playing at 1,000,000 APM, then sometimes you just got supply drop, but you got supply drop. Remember, if you lose that depot, you lose double the supply. It does look like the Baneling's going to be rolling in right now, but unfortunately they're hitting Hellbats, and really what you want to be hitting is the Marines. Oh, this is a lot of roaches, but again, what is with these circle concaves out of Dayshi? Getting a complete surround is our Terran player, which is not something you normally say, especially in this matchup where the Zerg is all about those surrounds. And Dayshi's control is starting to look pretty good this game. He's starting to macro like a boss. He's been able to keep his medevacs alive this entire time. I think he has more medevacs than he has a ground army, which is actually really good for him right now because the DPS of Hyun's army is quite low. Finally making some drones on the back of this, but that might actually seal the deal. He does not need drones. He needs units, and he needs them right now. He might have thought they did more damage than he actually did, and he's going to lose some reinforcing roaches right there. The Zergling's getting intercepted as well, and the surround from Zerg, I mean, it's there, but it is not very mighty. Even the Baneling hit's not as good as he would have liked. The medevacs is keeping everyone alive. Basically, there's so many medevacs that they are just going to start healing each other at this point, just because there's so many. But I gotta say, our Frenchman, man, looking pretty good. He's got just enough reinforcements on the way. He's got enough supply right now and is going to be dancing his way, I will say, to a victory here inside the third base, I guess we'll call it again. Now this is back up and mining. But I gotta say, I gotta hand it to Hyun, trying to be aggressive, trying to end the game early. But I honestly think that he underestimated the foreign power that we've been seeing coming out of all these European teams, European tournaments, and just all-around foreigner play as we've been defeating a lot of Koreans lately. So, very interesting play right now for Dayshi, not good for Hyun. And I do feel kind of bad for Hyun. I love watching him. He's such a good player, but today he got absolutely outplayed by Dayshi. And it is looking to go into Millennium's favor. This is actually the first game in the series. Talk about crazy. First game in the series able to be this epic. And the reinforcements of this might be, just look at this. This is some flash stuff right here, man. Just non-stop reinforcing goods. He's even stimming them to get them over there quicker. And, you know, at this point, it's actually worth it just to take that damage to end this game that much quicker. He does not want Hyun to be able to recover. He knows that Hyun invested a lot in the hatchery, so he would have a lot of production if he wasn't able to slow it down. And Dayshi, man, just gonna be non-stop aggression out of both these players. This is quite a fun matchup to watch between these two aggressive-styled players. As, oh god, the Overlord Massacre, that's going to be a huge supply block. There's going to be the GG out of Hyun. And Dayshi, anyone living in France right now, you should be pretty excited because that game was absolutely awesome. Now, Dayshi goes on to play another round. I might actually, just to support the lad, I might go on and continue casting his games because that was some pretty sick play. So anyways, guys, again, a huge shout-out to the Acer Team Story Cup. Boom! Almost messed it up, but not quite yet. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time.